What is going on, everybody? Coming off a good night, ready to get after it today. I am going to be leaving in the very near future, so I'm headed out to Colombia tonight. So I'm going to be I'll be playing. I'll be editing my lineups. I can sort of just get it in. I can probably do my last one at the airport with that 6 to 7:30 gap. So going to try and make it happen and see if we can't get another win. Sheets won the lottery a couple days ago. I won it last night, so we're back to back. Hopefully, one of the site members, or one of us can take it down again. So anyway, you can ignore these exposures right now. They're basically they're just like initial runs that I ran that I haven't rerun everything yet. I'm going to go back through the games and just talk about some of the things that I plan on doing today. It's a little tricky because you do have PJ Washington questionable. You have Anthony Edwards questionable. You have Bradley Beal questionable. But those are the main ones. And then obviously, LaMelo questionable, but I'm assuming he's going to play. And the other one that's a little bit weird is, which we'll know before lock, will be this Cole Anthony, because I actually really like Cole Anthony. Did we actually get him officially in? I guess we did get him officially in. I did not get that note, but I don't have him as questionable anymore. So somehow I missed that update. But anyway. Go ahead and like and subscribe, guys. We're going to spend probably 15, 20 minutes. Then I'm going to jump into the premium channel and go from there. Starting off with the first game, I didn't really move anyone around too much. I'm kind of tempted. I think I might do this with Steph. It's not a big bump. I think this is like this is a weird slate. You do have the some superstar spend ups. Steph's not going to make a lot of sense to a lot of people. I just think that he gets ignored here. I also think it's a decent to take a shot on Jimmy. It's a very small slate, and just getting like no ownership is what's appealing, but nobody who stands out from just like an actual play perspective. Really like all of the sides of this Orlando thing. I think that both Wagner and Banchero are really in play, and I think that Cole Anthony is in play, and I'm going to bump him up a tiny bit as well. I think all these guys have a good shot at look, we don't have a ton of value on the slate, and these guys are like, they're not the second tier stars, but we could get 50 plus out of Banchero and Wagner. I think each of them, maybe not the same game, but I think it's very possible. And I think you can get that 30 plus out of Cole Anthony. So I'm kind of in on the Orlando side of this game. On the Denver Milwaukee game, I would love to get to Jokic. I even tried bumping him up. It's just really hard to get to him. There's just not enough value on this slate, to be honest with you. I don't know how we're going to do it. I just can't personally. I don't feel comfortable with the lineups I have. So I'll get some of them, but I'm going to be lower than the field probably, and it feels really bad. We're probably right near the field. I just feel like some of this value is very, very sus. So I'm not overly excited. In my last builds, I was getting more Westbrook than I necessarily want. I would rather play Jamal Murray as look, it's a pivot off of Jokic. You're going to have some ownership. But there is a monster ceiling, and Milwaukee with the drop coverage, you're going to get open looks at threes. So I like Murray in this matchup. I like Michael Porter Jr. a little bit in this matchup. I even like Christian Braun a little bit. So very interested in trying to target this game, but it's going to be hard to do with Jokic unless we get somebody else ruled out that's going to open up some spots, because there is not a lot of value on this slate. Speaking of which, AJ Green, we're playing a guy with an 18-point projection who's 3,600 because we don't have value. You can make the case that Gary Trent is the better play. In fact, I think that he might be, but I don't want to go out of my way to do anything there. I actually bumped up Giannis's projection earlier. Now it's got a little lower. Giannis is a little bit more feasible. So is Luka than Jokic tonight, just because of the pricing. It's so tight. So I'm probably staying in the 9K. I like the Paolo, the Franz. I like Kyrie. I like we'll get to it. I like PJ Washington. I like the Suns guy, both Booker and Durant. I like Anthony Edwards. So probably not going to be able to get up to these top spends. But I do like this game, and I think Damian Lillard belongs in that conversation. He's a little cheaper on FanDuel, but I wouldn't mind getting to a little more Lillard than I did in my first run. So that's sort of my thoughts on that one. Let me just pull up my screen so I can see if there's any question. Oh, thanks, K9. I appreciate it. Yeah, it won me the tournament. Thank goodness I went with the sharp call, because I wish I went double sharp. I would have won by 100 points. I won by like 30 points. And Day'Ron Sharp was owned everywhere on DraftKings, but not on FanDuel. And we talked about it last night, and it worked out beautifully. Obviously with taking down the lottery. All right. I did bump up LaMelo's projection. It's going to be a sticky, sort of strange situation. Well, it won't be that sticky if it's this early, but it's a little weird. I actually bumped up Bridges' projection earlier. They bumped him up as well. without this news, I don't really know what we're gonna do. It's a weird slate where you're gonna have to be obviously editing as you go, but uh, as of right now, I'm probably I think LaMelo is more achievable, but I don't even know. I'm worried about Charlotte staying in this game. I think Dallas should be able to control it, but I still have some interest in LaMelo and Miles Bridges. I got to a bunch of LaMelo because I bumped him up. I'm going to bump him down just a little bit more, just down to 46. I didn't want to be overly aggressive here, but I do think if this game stays close, it's got big potential. Max Christie is definitely like he's just outside of the core plays for me. I love PJ Washington here, and I don't really need to do much to get. Look, I'll make him 39. It's not going to make a huge difference, but obviously, if Kyrie goes out, and I bumped up Kyrie a hefty amount and still couldn't get to much of him. I do like Kyrie and Edwards as sort of like a core 9K guys, and then the 8K guys are the Orlando guys, along with Booker, and yeah, that's the way I'm looking at it anyway. Clay is fine. You're obviously depending on him how many threes he can hit. It's a good matchup for it. So I'm fine to, this is where you were getting some savings. I'm not as high on the XM. Look, I got to a bunch of XM earlier because no one was going to play him. I just don't think it's the right thing to do. Getting a little exposure, fine, but I don't really want to have this ridiculous number I have. Not all that interested in Dinwiddie either, but I do think Dinwiddie has enough upside at 4,200 where we can kind of take a little bit of a thin play. Same thing with Najee Marshall, just because we just don't have the value on the slate that, to pay up for some of these really good studs. Love Trey Murphy in this game. I think it's a really good matchup for him. I actually might raise this a little bit higher. He's another one of these mid-tier guys, and I think that's just sort of the way you're building today, at least the way that I'm building today. I'll probably be a little bit under the field on Matkovic, although I have no problem with it. Again, it's just about finding value, so we're going to have to get some exposure to these guys. I have it ranked Missy, Murphy, then Zion on the New Orleans side here, and I think all of them are very, very decent, very solid plays. If you wanted to take a gamble, CJ McCollum I think is a reasonable bet, and Jordan Hawkins, but I probably am sticking mostly with the top end guys for New Orleans. Again, I'm going to rerun everything after I'm done here. Bull. I'll have to eat some of the chalk tonight because there's just not enough value out there. So assuming that he starts again, I'm going to probably be playing him. I actually think I want to do something and maybe bump up Richard. I think one of Richards or Plumlee has a decent game tonight. That's probably not enough to get to him much, but I think it's an interesting way to get a little different on this slate. I think that there's some value, and also late swap ability. I'll have multiple guys in these late games, so you'll be able to make some adjustments if you need to. If I get Grayson Allen, if I end up with the field, whatever, it's fine. I'm just not I'm not trying to go out of my way to do it. Love Anthony Edwards today. Hard to not make him a core. He is a core guy for me. Assuming he plays, he's always been questionable, plays every day. I imagine he plays, and I think he has a huge game here. I actually think I want more than 50% of him tonight. I think he's my favorite one. He and Kyrie, I think you could get 60 out of each of them. I really think that there's an excellent chance they can contend for the highest scoring players in the slate. So that's what I'm going high on Edwards. And look, I think everybody is. I think Naz Reid is also another nice mid-range play. Not mid-range, it's a high-end mid-range, but you know what I'm talking about. Jaden McDaniels had some good outlier games lately. It's a small slate. I don't mind taking a shot on him at low ownership. I'm not trying to go out of my way to do it, but it's something worth considering. Obviously, we won't know about DiVincenzo probably till a little bit later. I think the projection's too low on Luka, but I don't know that you're going to get to him anyway. It's just very, very hard to spend all the way up, and it's a pretty big price gap. LeBron is more affordable, but it's fine. I just don't think I need to go out of my way to do it. I think I'd rather stick with Anthony Edwards, Kyrie Irving, both Orlando guys. I didn't talk much about the Phoenix guys, but I do think that bumping up Booker and Durant, and it still can't quite get to them. I don't even mind bumping up a little bit higher just in speculation that Bradley Beal may sit. We'll see. I imagine he's going to play, but we still have him as questionable. So bump him up a little bit more, see if I can get a little bit of exposure there. I think Nick Richards is an interesting tournament dart. I really do. The more I think about this slate, I think that's another, you play him with Missy, you can kind of afford some of these stud pay-ups elsewhere other than Jokic, obviously, because they're both center only eligible. And then I also like I'm a little higher on the Jackson Hayes play. It's not like this has been a one that's worked out incredibly well. We're just low on value. So taking shots on Jackson Hayes, on Nick Richards, I just think it makes plenty of sense. And actually, I think there's upside for Hayes here. Minnesota, they don't have all their bigs, but they still are going to play Naz Reid most of the time. And I don't know what they're going to do with the other I don't think they're going to play another true 5 except for Garza a number of minutes, some minutes. I think Hayes is fine. It's just again, it's one of those slates that's not the most beautiful slate in the world. So we just don't have the value unless we get some news later that someone's sitting or something. So that's sort of my overlook on DraftKings. I'm going to jump over to FanDuel. Pop in any questions or thoughts you have. I'm happy to go over it. If PJ is ruled out, is Moses Brown the play? Where is that question coming from? What did I miss is my question. They don't play the same position. Moses Brown, I have at 0 minutes. That is a call I'm going to actually have to take, guys. I'm sorry to have to get out of here. It is a doctor's call that I need. It's very important. Usually I'd stay around longer. I will be in the Discord for all premium members, and I'll go over the rest of the